Hey everyone, and welcome back to Lindsey's Little Library. So I'm here today to have a little bit of fun during a fairly crazy, stressful time. As you guys know, the kids in the house here have been doing virtual school for a while. We had a slight chance to go back to in-person school. We were all super excited about it, but then just found out recently that they're going to be virtual school for quite a while. We're talking like January before they go back. So I have decided that, you know, we're gonna enjoy ourselves while we're having virtual school. We're gonna have some fun with it. And so Lindsey is going to put together her own required reading list for the kids while they're home with her. And I thought I'd share with you kind of the books that I would put on my required reading list, you know, if and when I am the teacher. So here we go. I went through my shelves. I've got quite the stack of them, varying reading abilities, varying subjects, just either ones that sound super fun and interesting that I want to read, or ones that I truly enjoyed when I was a kid or recently, because honestly the first one on the top of my pile I read this year. Was it this year? It was this year, wasn't it? Yeah, March. So The War That Saved My Life by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley follows our 10-year-old girl named Ada and her brother. She doesn't have the best mom. She really doesn't. Horrible mom, honestly. And they live in London, and so it's during World War II. London is being threatened pretty bad, and so a lot of parents are sending their kids to the country to live. So Jamie, her brother, is scheduled to be sent away and live with some other woman, but Ada was supposed to stay behind. She has a club foot. Her mom's kind of embarrassed by this, doesn't really let her out, but at the last minute Ada decides, I'm going to join my brother and get out of here. So she does. They go and live with Susan Smith. Susan Smith is kind of surprised to have kids. She kind of had them landed on her doorstep. She didn't expect it. She didn't sign up for it. But Ada and Susan create this remarkable bond between the two of them, and it is so amazing to see the influence that Susan has on Ada as well as the influence Ada has on Susan. So it's a fantastic book. Really highly recommend, but this is definitely going on my list for my 4th grader. I think we're going to put it on her list. The next one I want to have my kids pick up, I'm thinking my 6th grader needs to read this. Although I read this, I think, in 4th grade, so maybe my 4th grader. But Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. This made me want to go. I honestly believe I packed a bag and I went, because I grew up in the country. We had a little creek that went behind our house. I swear I went back there and I was determined to go and live off the land, just like Karana, is that how you say her name, does in this book. So this follows this Indian girl who was left behind when the Indians left this island, and she is there to survive. So it talks about weapons and food and the dolphins, obviously. But it's such a good book. I love this book. And look at how much I taped this thing, because it was just falling apart. But yeah, definitely going to put that on the list for sure. Another book that I thought would be fun, either if we read it as a family or I don't know what, but it's The Witches by Roald Dahl, because I believe it's at HBO, has a movie version that just came out with Anne Hathaway, and it looks fantastic. And I loved reading this book, and when they turn the kids into mice, oh my god, it's so crazy. But this is a fun read as well. Any Roald Dahl. I think my kids need to read more Roald Dahl, right? All right, couple books that I'm hoping that we could potentially read as a family. So we have The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. This is the first book in the Percy Jackson series. I have yet to get to this. I think my son would really enjoy this series, because there's mythical Greek gods involved, and there's an adventure, and there's all kinds of fun stuff. So I think this would be a fun little nighttime read that I would start with him. So that's going on my list for sure. Another one that I just picked up recently in our free little library in the neighborhood, it's The True Blue Scouts of Sugarman Swamp. It follows 2 raccoon brothers, and they are the new recruits to the official Sugarman Swamp Scouts. It's a really big responsibility. It's kind of a big deal that they're part of this. And the Sugarman is a massive creature who delights in delicious sugarcane, and kind of rules over this swamp. It's an honor to be part of the Blue Scouts for Sugarman Swamp. So it talks about, I guess, the mischief and journey and trouble they kind of get in as they're part of this. And I just love it that it follows raccoons. I think that's adorable. So we're going to pick that up as well. All right, and the last one I am throwing on the list of books I really think my kids should read. We have Hello, Mrs. Piggle Wiggle by Betty McDonald. I remember reading this book and I would laugh at this book because Mrs. Piggle Wiggle was just so funny to me, and plus I love saying Mrs. Piggle Wiggle. But let's see, she loves children. She's a big cupboard of overflowing magical pills and potions and appliances of curing any children of bad habits, like the powder that makes Philip completely invisible when he shows off, or the anti-slowpoke spray she uses to treat Harbin's extra acute daydreaming disease. However unusual the problem, you can count on Mrs. Piggle Wiggle for the answer. It is such a fun, cute little book. I should read that too. Another one I think I read like 1,000 times when I was a kid was The Secret at Polk Street School by Patricia Riley Giff. This, I think, got me into liking those mystery thriller books because it was just all about Dawn, who she kind of puts herself and creates herself as her own little detective, but she finds little messages. She looks for little different clues as far as what's happening at Polk Street School. I think this one follows thinking that there's a werewolf in the school, but it was fun. I really like this book too. I wonder if there's more. I bet you there's more. I should look. And then of course another one I want my kids to pick up is Little House on the Prairie by Laura Ingalls Wilder. I love these books. Again, would make me want to go out to the creek and pretend I was this frontier person that I really wasn't. I think I maybe lasted an hour or two, but I love these books. I have most of them, so this would be something I'd want them to pick up as well. And the last book that I want to recommend are the Wayside School books by Lois Shakar, I think is it the name. But Wayside School is this crazy funky school that instead of being built 13 classrooms in one story, it's built 13 stories with one classroom on each story, and I want to say it's even upside down, but there are the craziest things that happen in Wayside School. It is so fun, and I'm hoping to get my kids back into this. I know my oldest read most of them, I think all of them, but I'd love to get my 4th grader into it, maybe read some of this to my 2nd grader, but Wayside School was a blast. I loved it. So those are the required reading in Lindsey's house while we are in virtual school. We're gonna put that in a special pile. We're gonna do some read-alongs. It's gonna be great. We're gonna get through this because it's the only way it's gonna work, right? Let me know if you have any books that you would love to add to a required reading list. Comment below. Otherwise, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.